Hello, hello. Welcome to Beyond the Shadows podcast, hosted by Haunted Souls Paranormal. I'm Dan.
I'm Maddie.
It looks a lot weird right now. We had total technical difficulties. I'm on the phone.
He's on his lovely cell phone,
Yeah,
cellular device.
it is. It is June 25th, season 2, episode 22.
Yeah,
So
episode
yeah, we had total
22.
technical difficulty. Imagine that, us have technical difficulties.
It's crazy. Us never.
Yeah, like first I forgot the cord to the monitor, so then we were gonna have to just, set my camera up and just go without me looking at it, and then we couldn't get the computer to hook up to the Wi-Fi. So
Or any Wi-Fi at that fact. Not even
yeah, any
your.
Wi-Fi, it wouldn't even hook
Yeah.
up to my hotspot. So I don't know what's. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to play with it,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Slowly but surely. We weren't too late. Um. So this week, our first commenter, Aunt Kathy said, "Hey y'all, hot question mark. Very. Um, I'm burning up."
Oh, and then I broke my glasses on top of it. So yeah.
Susan said, hey, Kathy. Hey, Susan. Hello. Um, Gina said, howdy, y'all. Hello. Andrew Nikki said, y'all got it all sorted. Yeah, somewhat. HJ said, hiya from Heather and Heather. Hello.
Who said that?
Gina, HJ. Gina said, can't believe y'all just didn't do it from home today. Too hot.
I even asked her if she was even go to work because she was sick. I asked her if she wanted me to swing by here and just grab a microphone and our headphones. We could have done it from the bedroom again. Would have went old style.
I know. I just didn't really feel like setting up anything at all. So I was like, I'd rather just come here, fight it out for an hour, and then, go back home. Mom said I'm freezing at work. LOL. Okay, whatever, woman. Yeah, I didn't even go to work today. I had my last softball game yesterday, and I totally got dehydrated and threw up this morning and threw up a little bit after in the afternoon, just because I was so dehydrated and everything. So, but pretty much that's a little catch up. The weather's hot, of course.
Yeah. I think we just need to jump on into Paul there because Paul's been kind of late.
I know. Paul's a trooper.
Paul's a trooper. He stayed up kind of late for us there. I think we're 6 hours ahead. Or he's 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah. All right. I'll bring him on.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and good evening to your fan base.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Talking live from the UK, Surrey in the UK is where I'm based.
That's awesome.
Yeah. When he was like, hey, we're going to get someone from the UK on, I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I was so excited. Still am.
So, Paul, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started in the paranormal?
Sure. I started in the paranormal really when I was sort of early adulthood, really, because it was just beginning of June or July, I think, and I kept waking up because I kept thinking there was someone in the room with me. And when I woke up, I could see my nan standing at the bottom of the bed, like saying something to me. But this sort of happened for 4 nights in a row. And she was still there, as I remember her before she passed. And she was saying something to me, but I couldn't actually see what she was saying. But every time I sort of got closer to her, she just sort of disappeared. And then first 2 nights of thinking, is it a dream or am I missing her that much that I'm dreaming? And then it happened the third night, then the fourth night, and I'm thinking maybe there is something after we passed that she's trying to tell me, and that spurred me into looking into the paranormal. Asking the question we all ask: Is there life after death? Is the question I asked myself, and from there I studied parapsychology at a university as a mature student in Egham in Surrey. So I was doing it in the evenings while I had a family. I had a family growing up and I was working all day and I was doing parapsychology in the evenings. So I was it was myself and another guy. We were about 6 months or so behind the main group. So they did the course in 3 years. We did it in 3.5 years and passed that with a distinction after a lot of hard work and a lot of research, and that sort of led me to keep in with the paranormal. It really sort of g'd me up to sort of think, do you know what? Really think there is something in this, and the more I get my teeth into something, the more I want to know about it, the more I learn and research, and as I finished university, I was approached by the Ghost Club of Great Britain, which was started by Arthur Conan Doyle, but mainly men in the Victorian times. So I went to with them as an investigator for a little while because they were the only ones that were allowed to do really major stuff. Hampton Court, big places that the normal general public or general investigators weren't allowed to do. So that led me into there, and then I was approached by some teams, because I had a wealth of knowledge as I was going on. I've been in the paranormal for about 20, 25 years now. So I've seen a lot, been in situations a lot, things that you shouldn't be in situations, funny things. I'm lucky in one way that I have a gift and my partner's a medium and psychic. So when we go out, we tend to connect with the building or spirits within it. So I do have a gift that I tend to use for the paranormal. I tend to find out we feel that if we go to private locations, a house, so be it, people, we ask the spirit why you've summoned us there, because of people to ring you and ask you because they're having an issue with the house, the land, or whatever it may be. They contact you because spirit want you there for some reason.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason why you're there. Yeah.
Really what we do private. Oh, there we are. We're back. Buffering a bit. Anyway, that sort of led me on to doing various locations. I've done a lot for street defence. He's buffering. Are we still there?
Yes, you're still there.
Hello? Are we still there?
Yep.
Yeah, we're still there. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
It's buffering, isn't it? Yeah, it's buffering. I don't know. We've lost Dan, I think. I think he's gone into the other realm. We'll be back in a minute. There he is.
And it also doesn't help that it is like storming where we're at. So
defense. I've done army bases. I've done air force bases. I've done all sorts of places, museums. Currently, we're doing one at RAF Kenley in Surrey, which is an old RAF base that was used during the Second World War, where a lot of the Spitfires came from that were fighting in the Battle of Britain. So we're currently in an investigation there at the moment for them, which is, has turned up some real good evidence.
yeah.
I've done pubs. I've done forts. We're quite famous on our forts over here in the UK, aren't we? And I've done a few forts now in Portsmouth, which is a massive harbour in the UK, where a lot of naval bases are, but the old forts are Victorian forts. So I've done that. I'm also a lead investigator on another paranormal group that hosts events, and they asked us to come along for our expertise and help with their events and, explain hopefully what they're going to get that night and how to Shepton Mullet Prison in Somerset, very famous prison here. It's the second most haunted prison in Britain. We've done that one.
Nice.
To places, universities. I'm also a member of NESPRA, the New England Society of Paranormal Research. Head of Lorraine Warren, I'm part of their group.
Wow,
their
yeah.
investigators are there. So
Nice.
it's the Warren Legacy Foundation. So I'm one of their investigators in the UK for cases over here, and I've done a couple here for them, where they contacted us from the States and people. I don't know whether
You there?
we've done all sorts of places. There's police cells, very haunted place, dates back to the Victorian age. That's where we caught an amazing apparition of a picture on
So
the
what would oh
roof of what they called the hanging judge. So I have done
are we buffering, or is that
numerous I've done asylums, hospitals. So I have been I have done quite a broad spectrum of locations, I should say, really. And my partner, we have a historian that going in. We can present case files to our clients and see.
Uh-oh.
I think it's his.
Yeah.
I think it's his internet. It's not ours. Because me and you were moving fluently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it was his connection.
Oh no.
Well, we'll see if he comes back, because it was hard for me to. That's what I was asking, if we were buffering with him or not.
Yeah.
You want to read some comments while we catch up then?
Gina said, "Ma'am, go home and get cool." I will eventually. I'll go in my cold basement.
This might be a short podcast.
Yeah. HJ said has been to the States and done any investigation. If he pops back on, we'll go ahead and ask him.
I'm back. Sorry.
Hello. No,
There
you're
you go.
good.
Back again. I've changed to my phone, so I'm like you now, Dan.
Okay, perfect.
I was saying, it must be something going on over that way, because I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Join the phone club. Why not?
And it went off, so I quickly rushed onto my phone like you do.
No, you're good.
No problem. So I know for 20. I mean, you've been doing it for 25 years. So yeah, you have gone a lot of places. Main question I would like to say is, have you been to the States?
No, that's one place I've always wanted to go. I really, on my bucket list is Waverley Hills Sanatorium.
Yes.
That's really on the top of my bucket list, that is. So one day we'll go over there soon and try and go there, and that'll be tick one off the bucket list. But no, we haven't, unfortunately. We would love to, because obviously you have a massive history there, and the same as here in the UK, we have a lot of history, but also we have a lot of restrictions on our investigations. I'm not quite sure what it's like in the States, but here we're very tied down on where we can go, where we can wander. We're very tied down, but yes, we would love to head to the States and do an investigation without a doubt.
Yeah, that's one thing that me and Maddie always ask our guests is, like, because you're the first international, but like we always say, what's your bucket list in the United States, and then what's your bucket list across, outside of the United States?
All expenses, cost, and everything.
Yeah, all expenses paid. So you definitely go to Waverly here, What's a place that you haven't gone that's overseas, or over on your side that you'd want to go to?
I would want to go to Edinburgh Vaults in Scotland. The very famous Edinburgh Vaults. I don't know whether you've heard of that. It's a very, very haunted location that's quite difficult to get access to, and you have to go in as a specific group of people. So it's something that we've been working on as Host for Ghosts for a while to try and get an invite into there.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury Prison is another one. I've done, as I say, I've done Shepton Mallet, which is the second most haunted prison in Britain. So I'd like to do Shrewsbury Prison. In this country, there's numerous places, castles and things that you can go to, but it's very difficult to get permission. If someone doesn't believe in the paranormal or, spirit, it's very difficult to persuade them to allow you access in there. I'm not quite sure how it is in the States, but it can be very difficult, very time consuming, trying to go and set up an investigation, especially, I've done interviews. We were going to do an American air base in Martlesham in Norfolk, in Suffolk, sorry. And it's an old American air base, and it's still got the control tower there. And it's a museum now run by American pilots. And we approached them because they were looking for someone to go in there to help, because it's self-funded. They were looking for people to help fund it, and we approached them and said that we could bring a group of guests in, and we would pay X amount per night, and that would help help with their fund and keep the building going. And it's a tremendous building. We've been there for a meeting with them, and it's spectacular, and it should always be saved, because once these places are gone, they're gone, aren't they? You can't retrieve the history. You can only talk about it. But we got right the way through, and they were yeah, definitely, and then got right to the very end, and it went to the board of the people that own the actual building, and they said no.
Oh man!
So that sort of, we spent months and months getting that ready, presenting to them, and giving them all the finances that they would be making, so it would help with the renovation and keeping it going, because it is. It's quite a museum. It's, a real place to go.
Right.
And we know for the history.
And that's what some people don't understand is, like, when they have these buildings that they're like, well, we need funding. We need something to do it. The paranormal is like, brings tons of money in.
Yeah.
And if you have people that respect the building, that's watching your ghost hunts or helping your ghost hunts and stuff like that, you can bring in lots of money and protect, your watch, making sure people are not, destroying the building, and bring in lots of revenue for that building to do a lot of things. Because I know over in the United States, over here, paranormal is like really huge right now. So everybody's doing the paranormal thing. Yeah,
we have a lot of groups doing events. As I say, we hosted an event with another group. They use us for our expertise and all the stuff that we know about the paranormal. And obviously my partner is a psychic medium, helps connect and give people a bit of a history. But it is a battle. It is a battle. We even did a financial review for them and showed them, and we even offered to take a members only paranormal night. So it was just them to see how respectful we are, and we always go with the utmost respect for spirit, for the building, for the surrounding area. We're not like some other groups that just go trash it and then move on. We're not like that. We have the utmost respect for everything around us and everything within the building. And we said we'd do a members only night there, just so they get to know us and know that we're not there to trash their building. But someone on the board, one person out of 10, I think, said no. And then they just said no. That was it. That was the end of months and months and months of hard work to build it up, only to be knocked down by one person. But that's life, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Move on to the next one.
Some of those people that say no are so scared because they don't know what the paranormal is. When
Yeah,
people are so scared of what they don't know.
exactly. You know, you think of the paranormal, you know, and it's a very small part of the supernatural, really, isn't
Mhm.
it? If you think about UFOs, uh, you know, we're very much into. We have a young lad that comes on our podcast on a Monday night. He's very much into Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and he's been out in Florida last few weeks doing the Bigfoot conference out there. But he's 15 years old. You
Wow.
know, yeah, absolute cracking fella. But you know, paranormal, like we explain, is a very small part of a massive circle of supernatural. You
Mhm.
know, and people um, see the programs on TV, don't they? In these haunted buildings, and they're running out screaming and getting scratched, and everybody assumes that if you do a paranormal night, that's going to happen. But we all know that a lot of stuff that's done for the TV is for entertainment purposes only, and that
Mhm.
Correct.
scares them off. That literally scares them off. They say, "Oh no, just in case you bring something into the building," you know. And you say, "I assure you, that's not going to happen." But some people are that scared, or that they don't understand the paranormal, that they falter and say, "Oh no, you're all right. No, we won't have you here in the building," even though you can generate revenue for them very quickly.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really, because here in the UK we have lots of faults and buildings that really need to be investigated because the building has got a story to tell. That's what it's
Yes.
about, isn't it? You
Yes.
Yep.
know, that's
And
what the
we,
paranormal is about: is telling the story of the building or the people within that building.
yeah. And it's funny because, like we said before, like we ask the bucket list question all the time. Every time we've been doing it for 62 episodes now, that we've been asking, well, you know, what's your bucket list? And everyone, when we're like, okay, what's your international? They always say like either the UK or Scotland, and it's always um, castles and these big
Yeah,
buildings. And the UK is one of them that it's on top of people's list to go investigate,
yeah,
just because
yeah. I
it
mean,
has such beautiful history.
yeah, we're very lucky to have a history that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. You know, new huge battles taken place. And
Mhm.
the various battles of the War of the Roses and the Scots versus the English, and there's lots of battlegrounds around that you can go. Obviously, a lot of the places we tend to, if we go away for a weekend or something, we tend to head for somewhere that's got some English heritage, like a castle or a very famous battleground.
Mhm.
There's a very famous place in Kent here called Battle, and that's where the Battle of Hastings took place in 1066. And that's got a battle abbey that still survives from 1066. A very, very massively intriguing place. And we did a ghost walk around there one night, and the battlefield is it's just huge, but a very famous battlefield, a bit like your Gettysburg, I think in the States. A
Mhm.
very famous battlefield that still gives up spirits, still gives up soldiers, even now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did. We actually just investigated last month in May the Lots House in Franklin, Kentucky, or Franklin, Tennessee, which had a huge Civil War battle there. And I told Madison, I was like, I've never done a battlefield before, and just to see the energy of the shadows running back and forth, like along the fence lines and through the woods and stuff like that, that you saw, like dodging between cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just the shadows that are running around everywhere. It's
But
just really really amazing, to see that.
it's unbelievable, isn't it? When you see the shadows, but you can also feel the energy in the ground, because it's not always, people associate hauntings with buildings. It's not always the building that's the issue. The energy's in the ground. People laid there and died, so their energy is always within that ground. And when you
Yeah.
go on that sort of sacred ground of a battlefield, you really do pick up that next generation of energy. Like you say, shadows, and over here we hear lots of horses, and also quite common here is seeing Roman soldiers in basements of buildings.
Hmm.
That's very,
That would be
yeah,
that would definitely be weird.
that's very common. There's a story, probably about 5-6 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer, where a young guy was working in the basement in Brighton, right by the coast. And in the Roman age, it had been called Brightonia. So it dates back to the Roman type. And he was working in the basement where they were clearing the basement out, getting ready for, I think they were putting a shop or a store in there. Something was going on. And the guy that he was with said, "Oh, well, I'll go off and get us a coffee." So the young lad stayed there and he was up a ladder and he could hear this, like what he described as like drums banging. And he's like looking around thinking, well, it's not a music shop or anything like that. And as he looked below off the ladder, he saw like a horse and then a Roman chariot and a load of Roman soldiers march through the bottom of the building. You can only see half of them because obviously from the level of the ground then to the level of the ground now, we're much higher up in our level. Hence why people only see half a body, you know. So he could see half a Roman, what he described as a Roman legion. And he actually described the horse, the chariot, and the soldiers marching through the basement. They didn't acknowledge him or see him, but you know, and that's quite a thing that's often seen here.
I don't know how I would react to that. That would be definitely different. That would be
I
a.
think I'd run. I think I'd run.
Oh, I'd run.
You would
I'd
run.
cry.
I don't know if I would. I mean, like, to look down and see all these soldiers walking through and stuff, and then even half their body too. Not even,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Not even a full apparition. Just half.
Yeah. You know, I'm very brave and I'll go into dark basements and I've been into all sorts of, you know, very scary locations. But I think if, you know, and I have seen apparitions in the time that I've been investigating a few times. But I think if I was to see a Roman army, I think I'd be running because
Yeah.
that's another level of apparition, isn't it? To see a group of apparitions rather than, you know, we see
Just
the odd
one,
one, don't we? Yeah. Where to see a group of apparitions is on another level, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Not even
Yeah,
just
it
like
would.
group, a whole army, horse, chariot, like everything. Like
Yeah.
your heart would just stop. Ugh.
They'd be like, "So, Madison, how many apparitions have you seen? A whole legion?"
I think that guy has us all topsed.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
That's maybe in town.
Oh yeah. Paul should tell you about the apparition he saw in Merris Wood.
Yes, please
He's
tell
got
us. Please.
He's got lots of brilliant stories, let me tell you.
Please tell us.
There's a building in the UK called Merris Wood. It's a university for vets and agriculture, you know, farmers and all of that. And I was with a group called Surrey Paranormal at the time, and we were just obviously doing bits and pieces, and we were asked to go to Merris Wood, which is in a place called Guildford, which again, Guildford is a very haunted town in the UK. So we went to Merris Wood, and the Merris Wood is a very special house because it's a square house with 4 sides and not a conventional house. And it was actually built with no roof. So the horse and carriages would come in out in the open and people would walk across the courtyard and then walk up some stairs into the house. So after a period of time, the owner of Merris Wood, 200 or 300 years ago, decided he didn't want his guests to be getting wet when they got out of their carriages. So he built a roof. Then it became what they call like a normal house. Before it was not called a house, it was just called Merris Wood. Anyway, we were asked to go there because it's offices now. But after sort of when it gets dark, they have a lot of noises, banging, all sorts of types of things go on. And nobody stays in the office after it goes dark. Everybody clears out, you know, and singing, and nobody stays there because they're too scared. So we were invited to go there to do an investigation to try and work out what was going on in this house. And it happened to be on Halloween, the night of Halloween here. So, you know, it's a good time to go paranormal hunting on Halloween night when the veil's at its very thinnest.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit of snow. So we turned up at the house, got the caretaker. He came down to the house, but he would not go in the house. He said, "I'm not going in." And not even the dog would go in the house. He said, "I'll open the door. The light switches are halfway down the corridor. but I'm not coming in. I'm not going in there. So I was with a group of women then. There was about 4 women. They said to me, "Oh, you're the man. You go down the dark corridor and switch the lights on." Great, great, just what I need, you know. So I walked in, managed to find the lights, switched them all on. So we carried our equipment in and made a base in the very bottom of the house. So, and as we were putting our equipment out and getting it ready, because they wanted us to take some VIPs in there with us for the night to, give them a ghost hunt around there. We could hear singing upstairs, like a lady with beautiful, beautiful voice, really singing. And they said to me, "Oh, the building should be empty. There's nobody here." So they said, "Go upstairs and have a look and see if someone's in their office." So I went upstairs, wandered up and down. Remember, I'm walking down 4 corridors because it's a square house,
Right.
So it had 4 separate corridors. And I noticed one corridor was a lot colder than the other corridors. But, and I couldn't find where the singing was. And when I got up there, I could hear the singing turn to humming, a woman's voice humming. I could not find it. And then it just suddenly stopped. So I thought, well, I don't know. There's nobody in the office. He said, "I can't see anybody. It's total darkness." Came back down the stairs. We started to unload our equipment again and getting our recorders ready, the cameras ready, all the sorts of bits. And then we could hear children laughing upstairs. We're thinking, well, how can that be? The building's empty. And literally, children were laughing. And when we sort of called out and said, "If there's children here, can you come downstairs and play?" And you could hear dunk, 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 as they came down the stairs and then run back up. As we got close, they run back up. So anyway, we couldn't find these children anywhere. And we had, I don't know whether you have them in the US, we have like cat balls, LED balls that flash when they're moved. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we put them on the stairs. So by this time, none of the guests had turned up. It was just us 5. And we're saying to the children, "Can you move the cat balls? Can you make them move around?" And the cat balls were actually flashing and coming down the stairs, dunk, 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 down the stairs on their own. And we were asking them to sort of move them about, and they did. They really did. So along came the guests. So the Mirrors Wood is on 3 floors. So you had the ground floor, middle floor, and upper floor, which would be the attic. So we had 3 different types of experiment on each floor to give the guests 3 different types of investigation or 3 different types of communication with them. So the ground floor, we had cat balls and we had a Ouija board on the ground floor. Second floor, we had EVPs, electronic recordings and cameras running. And the third floor was laser grids, where we had lots of laser grids around the rooms. You probably use them in the States anyway. So on the ground floor, start off, the Ouija board was going well, and we had contact with a lady that was supposedly killed there. She fell off her horse and sadly died. So we wrote it all down and recorded everything like we normally do. So anyway, we came back to have a cup of tea, typical British, tea time. So we stopped to have a cup of tea like we do. So they said to me, "Will you take the 6 ladies upstairs to the second floor? Someone else was going to the 3rd floor and another group were on the bottom." So we went up to the 2nd floor. And I thought, I know where we'll go. We'll go to the corridor that's the coldest. Because to me, when I walked through there, I had a feeling, that feeling of like dread, as something was going to happen, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I thought, that's the place to go. That's where there's either a portal or there's something that's going to happen in this corridor. So all these ladies have never been ghost hunted before, and they all work in the offices and the surrounding buildings. So they're all quite excited. "Oh, are we going to see anything? Is anything in there?" And I didn't have the heart to tell them that, yeah, maybe something is going to happen in here, because I could sense it as being like a medium. I could sense something was happening in the corridor.
Yeah.
So we're standing in the corridor, and obviously, and then we're looking across through the windows to the other corridor on the opposite side of it. There's a massive white flash, bang, like a camera flash. And I sort of looked, and they all went, "Oh, what was that?" So I said, "Well, maybe it's someone up here taking photos, but everybody should be remaining on their own floor." So I walked around the corridors, couldn't see anybody there. So thinking, well, that's very strange. Why a white flashing light?
Yeah.
And then a few seconds later, I was asking now, if any spirits here, we should contact her, come and talk to us, blah, blah. And there's this massive white and blue light and the same corridor. I'm thinking, I know for a fact there's nobody there, so I know now there's a spirit coming, because I think that's the way in. So
Yeah.
we're standing there, and to my right hand side is a door, 5 yards, less than 5, 2 or 3 yards from me, with a glass pane in the door. And I'm saying to Spirit, can you come and communicate with us? I know you're here, because I could sense he was there. And then as I looked in the door, his face was pressed against the window, the glass, looking in. So his face was squashed against the glass, like you would if you were looking in. And I'm thinking, oh, who's this? And by this time, all the women had gathered on the corner of the corridor. And a split second later, I said, Spirit, if that's really you outside the door, can you come into the corridor? Come and join us. And a split second later, there was a bit of a tap. And when I turned, there was a man standing next to me, looking at me. And I looked and looked again. And the split second I looked the second time, the women saw him. And of course, then we had one fainted, and the rest were running out the fire door. So there's alarms going off. There's one lady laying on the floor, that's completely passed out. She just couldn't believe what she'd seen, and it was just total chaos. The building's going rah, 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 rah. So of course, everybody's had to come out of all their experiments. And what we did in that case was split them up in the car park, so nobody could talk to each other. Eventually, after they've all had their cigarette, stop the handshaking, and we managed to get descriptions from the ladies, and all the descriptions matched exactly what I'd seen. So we carried on with the investigation. We went to the 3rd floor, and they were still obviously shaken by this man being in this corridor with us. So on the 3rd floor, we had like laser grids in a room. So we were off a main room in a side room. So we could see the laser grid out in the main room. So we're standing there looking out. Again, I'm doing the calling out. Is there anybody here? Would you like to contact us? And, we come here with the utmost respect. And then there was a tap on the door, like a knock, knock. And I thought, was somebody at the door. So I've opened the door. Of course, there's nobody there. I've gone back into the little side room. And as we're looking into the main room, we could see a shadow along the laser grid walking in the room. And it came right round the room. And when it got to where we were in the little side room, it became an orb, a very purple blue orb, came in the door. And it literally was going right round the whole room, like it was looking at us really, really slowly. And I'm saying to people, has anybody got the phone on? Is it a reflection? You know how you try and debunk these sorts of things and try and understand what's going on? Is it a camera? Has everybody had their phones away. Some people had phones in pockets, handbags, whatever. So nobody had a phone out. So it couldn't have been a reflection. So I looked out the side window. There was no one there because we were in total darkness. So I said to keep watching the orb. And it went out of the room we were in. And a split second later, you could see a shadow of a man walking back out. And you heard the door shut behind him. Clunk as the door shut. And now, to me, that was what I'd been looking for many, many years. So when we'd done the research and came out, we did the research. And the man that we saw in the corridor was the architect that built the building. So when we approached the owners and told them, they said, he's often seen wandering around the middle corridors, inspecting, make sure that we keep in the building. And that was the first part of first apparition I'd seen, was this gentleman standing right by the side of me. It was scary in one respect, but it's what everybody wants to see, isn't it? Although seeing an apparition is very rare, isn't it, in what we do? But that was my first contact with a spirit.
And not only did Paul see, did he not only see the ghost or the spirit in the window, he challenged it to come outside the hallway.
Yeah.
He's like, if that's really you, come on out here in the hallway.
Yeah. But I said it because the face was pressed against the glass. And I'm thinking, if there's somebody in the corridor, then they can't come in, can they? Because they've got to open the door. But the split second later, I looked at the ladies to make sure that they were okay. By this time, they were getting very close to each other because, I think even they could sense something was happening in the corridor. And the split second I looked back to my right, he was standing right next to me. And I'm looking, thinking, the door hadn't even opened. So I knew he was not he was a spirit. And I'm thinking, oh, he's standing right next to me.
Oh.
And literally a split second later, these women were screaming and say one passed out and they've shot out the fire exit. So all the fire alarms were going off and, you know, it was just total chaos. And
Oh,
everybody described the same split second of seeing him, his clothing and the way he looked. And he looked at me and then looked down the corridor. And I thought, oh, did I just really did I, you know, and I started to doubt myself then. I'm thinking, did I actually see that? And
Yeah.
then when I Googled it when I got home, the guy that was the architect was the guy I saw in the corridor along with these 6 other women. So it sort of validates that you've seen one because 6 other people saw it the split second same time. And it literally was a split second of him standing there and gone. You know, second view, third view, and he was disappeared. You know, amazing.
That's great.
I
You
have
want
a
to check
feeling-
any questions there, Maddie?
I have a feeling I'd be one of those people that passed out.
No, you be the one running out the door with the alarm going off.
The thing is,
I'm a-
you know,
I'm a-
I find that if we're asking spirit to come in and interact with us, and they do that, and you know, with the utmost respect, you know, you see a lot of people screaming and running, don't you? I find
Yeah.
that quite disrespectful because if I've asked them to come and interact with me, and then they appear and I suddenly start running, I think that's quite disrespectful to the spirit because they think, well,
Yeah.
you asked me, I've appeared, and now you run. You know, what's this all
Yeah.
about?
They're
So,
like, I just did what
as
you
much
asked
as I
me to
wanted
do.
to run,
Yeah,
much
I
as
just
I
did
wanted
what
to
you
run,
asked
I
me to
thought-
do, and now you're scared of me.
yeah,
Yeah.
as much as I wanted to run, I thought, well, I'm not going to run because I've asked it to do this. You know, and I even stood there and said, thank you, Spirit, for that. We did
Yeah.
see you, and I really thank you for doing that for us. You know, but I have to go and attend to these ladies in the fire alarm.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
and he
like,
obviously
"What's it
just
now? My
disappeared.
bad."
I gotta go round up the herd there for a second. They
Yeah.
all took off.
Yeah. Oh, it was so funny. You know, like, I had to wake the lady up on the floor, and then the others were in the car park trying to light a cigarette with their hands shaking and couldn't light the cigarettes. And all the people were coming out of the building because the fire alarm had gone off. And then the caretaker come wandering up with his dog, and he was saying to me, "You'll have to go to the fire alarm panel and turn it off because I'm not going in that house in the dark." I had to go in, find the fire panel. He had to phone the fire brigade to stop them coming out and turn the fire panel off. It's so funny.
I've had that same situation, like the doppelganger that we saw at ISS, when I told the guy to walk in the room and he walked back out, and I said, "Hey, I thought I told you to go in the room," and he poked his head out. He said, "I am in the room." And
wow.
This thing walked down the hallway, and the lady standing next to me she about crapped herself, man. She was just like, "Did you see that?" Right? I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it," you know. And when the whole the passing out was the other one, when we were walking down the steps, and the lady was like, "Oh my God," and she fell back, and she saw a man at the bottom of the steps. Me and her both saw him, So it's like women, they tend to, when they don't expect, they want to see it, but when they do see it, it's like.
I think sometimes we go on these investigations and we get a feeling nothing's going to happen. And I think when something does happen, I always sort of take a double take, or I try and look at it logically. What was it I saw? He was outside and now he's inside. How could he have gone into the corridor without the door opening? And even we had a camera at the end of the corridor, but you can see what looks like an outline in the glass, but you obviously can't see the apparition in the corridor on the camera. The camera just goes blank, like the battery's gone flat. So whether he'd knocked the energy out of the battery to be able to bring himself into our time, or whether he was in our time, whether he was in our time, or he was like a residual energy where he's just comes suddenly back in to inspect the building. I don't know. He didn't interact. He just came from outside the corridor, the glass, and then he was standing next to me. So whether he could see me, hear me, I don't know, or he was doing his normal walk around the building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because obviously you can't ask them, can you? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that was just residual energy or it was intelligent. I like to think it's intelligent because he come from out of the glass pane looking through the door actually to join us in the corridor.
Mhm.
You know, I
Yeah.
like to think that's intelligent because he's done
Well, yeah,
that.
because you asked him to, so he came out. So you would think that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And, you know, and I often, even now, you know, that was probably 10 years ago, you know, even now I know what I saw and I still believe that was intelligent because he did exactly what I asked, you know, and it was, you know, you pay them the respect that they do when they do that. You know, you don't run. I stood there and said, thank you. You know, I really appreciate it. I know that takes a lot of energy for you to do that, but I must go and attend these ladies that are running around the building. And of course, that split second, I look back and he'd gone, you know.
Yeah.
So that was my first time of seeing an apparition.
Nice. You want to hit some
That's-
comments, Maddie?
Yeah. Kelly Hudson said, hey. The Living Garden said, hey, everyone.
Hello.
Let's see who else. Jeannie said hello. Lauren said stopping by to say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Gina asks what you're snacking on, Dad.
Oh, my blood sugar was a little low, so they're nerds, nerd
Nerds.
gummies.
Yeah. HJ said, what has been some of the most interesting places and for your investigations?
Interesting places. Well, Merriswood obviously is one of them, which was quite an interesting place. Shepton
Mhm.
Mullet Prison is another good one because during the Second World War that housed American soldiers.
Mhm.
So obviously, so that was quite famous for housing American soldiers during the Second World War. So that was a very, very interesting place. Where else have I done? The Lamb. There's a pub called the Lamb in a little village out in the countryside here. And this is when we were going along with another group, helping this group because they asked us to head up a group. And we went to a pub, a very old English pub, 14th century pub. So it would have been the hub of the village during that time. As the pubs here were used as mortuaries and police stations and shops, and you know all the general villagers would go there because it was the centre of the village.
Mhm.
And we went to it was an English pub called the Lamb near Reading in Surrey, and that was a very building with very audible taps, knocks, you know, voices. You could hear conversations, but couldn't work out where the conversations were. So myself and my partner Jenny and a few others, we went upstairs to in this bed, what would have been a bedroom with an ensuite. So I was sitting in the bathroom looking into the main room, and with another lady to my right. My partner Jenny and a few other ladies were in the other room. Prior to this, we were doing table tipping. You know, we were getting the table to move, and the table was moving, you know, massively. It was standing up on one leg, doing various things that you really wanted to do. Then suddenly it just sort of bang and stopped. And then myself and my partner Jenny really said something was coming because it went to a sudden quietness within the room, and you're thinking, right, something's coming, something's building here. And as I was sitting in the bathroom looking through the door and into the main room, there's a mirror in front of me. And then all of a sudden, my partner said, who's that standing in the mirror? And everybody looked. And as we looked,
I asked if you were standing up.
yeah, she said to me, are you standing up in the bathroom? I said, no, I'm sitting down. And she went, oh my God. And it literally appeared, this full figure in front of this mirror. And I saw it from the bathroom. And as I went to run into the main room to try and get a picture of it, something held me on the shoulders. It held me, sat me down on the floor again. So I couldn't actually get myself off the floor. And I'm going, get off, get off, get off. So I'd run out into the main room. All the women in the room were screaming and shouting because they'd seen this full apparition standing that literally was not that you could see the details, but you could see the shadow. And it was a full apparition, a black apparition, and it just appeared out of nowhere, literally. And that was one of the. And my partner we've been on a few. And she said, "Oh, we never get really much to happen. I never see or hear anything. And this night she heard it and saw it. So that was a really, really interesting place, along with Shepton Mullet Prison. The asylum was another interesting, very creepy place that had a very lonely experience in the asylum. I got, as paranormal investigators, you don't go wander off on your own. You always stay as a team because of the dangers you're posed with. So we went to an asylum. We were asked in there because some builders were in there trying to renovate it, but they couldn't go in there because the tools were going missing. All sorts of things happened. So we were asked to go in there. So again, as we went in there, bearing in mind it'd been shut about 70 years, this asylum, but as you went in, there was still books on the reception area. The beds were still made. There was still cutlery everywhere. So it was quite creepy. It's just like people have gone outside. So, and it was a main reception, like a big circle in the middle, and the wings coming off around it. And all the doors were open on the bedrooms. And I saw one of the doors move and heard something, like a voice. And I thought, oh, I'll go and have a look at that. So I said to the other group, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to get some more equipment. So like a fool, I wandered off down this long, dark corridor, and I could see the door that was in a different closed state to the other doors. I'm thinking, oh, should I go in there or shouldn't I? Is this a warning sign? I thought, oh, well, I'm here to investigate. Why not? So like a fool, I go in there, anybody here? And then bang, the door shut behind me. And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble now. So I can't get a phone reception because we're inside the building. So I can't text them, say, come and help me. And as I was standing there, I'm thinking, oh, what have I done now? And I could feel something that would brush past me. I'm thinking, oh, there's something else in here with me. And this was getting very agitated, whatever it was. And I couldn't connect with it because it just wasn't having any of it. So you get into that state where it's fight or flight mode, don't you? When I've tried the door and it's stuck. I can't get out. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to stand my ground here. So I'm saying, well, come on then, do what you got to do, do what, scratch me, do whatever, try what you want. I'm not scared of you, and I won't be backing down. And the door opened, so I quickly shot out the door, sort of run all the way back to reception. They said, "You all right? You're out of breath." So, yeah, nothing. It's fine. It's honestly, I'm fine. I didn't dare tell them that I'd been caught in a room, and that was probably one of my scariest, interesting moments.
Oh man, you're a lot braver. You're a lot braver than me. I think I would have been at the door saying, "Somebody let me out!" Just banging on the door. Hopefully, the group hears me.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's a rule we have here because obviously we're part of a bigger group. It's called PUPI, Para-Unified Paranormal Investigators. So it's all like the little groups like yourself and us and all of them. We're just one big family. So, and we belong to the Great British Ghost Hunters. So that sort of thing. And it's, our experience over the many, many years that help other groups to have a good event or, to do a safety talk, about grounding yourself before you enter these types of properties, really sort of know what you're getting yourself into and just being on your guard, and a lot of times people say, oh, what equipment do you take with you? You must take thousands of pounds worth of equipment. And we do. But the best bit of equipment we take into that building is our body. Our body will tell us whether it's wrong or right or whether to get out. You don't need thousands of pounds worth of equipment to tell you, run.
Yeah.
The goosebumps.
We tell everybody always asks us, what's the best piece of equipment? Your body, yourself. Your body's going to tell you exactly what's wrong. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, then be aware, be alert. That's a warning that something good is not going to happen, Yeah.
You get the stomach, don't you? You get butterflies in your tummy. You get the goosebumps. You get all this build-up of energy and the hair in the back of your neck. So something. I suppose as being a medium or psychic, we have a little bit more advantage because you're trying to find out what it is that's coming before it actually gets there. Is whether to whisk everybody out of the room.
I tell our psychic that's not fair. You have a
Yeah.
head start.
Well, if I'm running past you, you need to run with me because if I'm running
That's
past you, there's something wrong.
That's
Remember that. If I run past you, run.
It's good to
That's
know.
always
If we
going to be
ever,
at the
if
front.
we ever investigate with Paul, if he starts running, you run, Madison.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I like their rule though that no one goes alone.
Yes. Yeah.
I do like that rule.
We have the rule because if you, especially probably in the States, you have a lot of these buildings have lift shafts that have actually been taken out because the buildings are derelict. And
Yeah.
it's the same in the UK, sometimes we come across buildings that would have had lift shafts and, old derelict hospitals. But
Yeah.
what you've got to remember is when you're walking along, you're not looking at the floor, are you? Because you're looking forward at the end of the torch.
Correct.
And because there's a dark hole in front of you, you don't actually see that hole. And the next thing you know, you drop 30 feet down a lift shaft.
Yeah.
And people make that mistake because, when you walk along, you're looking at your light beam. So you're looking in front of you because you've seen something, heard something, or you're going to investigate something that's a bit further down the corridor. But what you've got to remember is you've got to look on the floor.
Yep.
Because there's hidden traps on that floor. And if we do a building like that, then we'll go as a group. So you'll have 2 people with torches at the front, 2 in the middle shining the torches to the floor, and 2 at the back shining the torches the opposite way. So you never actually go on your own. So you've always got that safety field around you. If something happened, you're there, you can get them out of the building. If you go off on your own, you drop down 30 feet down a lift shaft.
Yeah.
No one's going to hear you.
No one's going to find you, are they, for a while? And then you could be joining what you've gone looking for.
Yeah.
You're gonna know firsthand.
It's funny.
Connect with the other side.
So I'm a paranormal investigator that I'm scared of my own shadow. And my dad always asks, like, why are you scared? And it's because I'm sensitive, but I haven't got to my full ability. So it's like I know something there, but I have no idea what it is. So I don't know if I should be scared or not. And my first fear is scared because I don't know what it is. And like when I feel something, I feel it like a lot. And so my dad, he knows it. So he's like, I need you to go get 2 more cat balls downstairs by yourself. I'm like, are you kidding me? He does it on purpose because he knows I'm scared. He's like, I'm slowly getting there to where I'm more brave, but
I think, some locations, that are going to be good locations. It's not negative. I've not heard of ever going on an investigation when we take guests and VIPs where anybody's come to any harm, because if you go in with a positive attitude, you'll only get positive energy back from spirit. If you go looking for the negative, the devil, Satan, whatever you want to take on, then that's fine. But that's not my department. My department is taking people on an investigation safely, making sure that they enjoy it. So anything that, when everybody comes out, they don't come out with a detachment, because we put grounding on everybody in the doorway as they enter, and the same going out. And we have a saying, myself and my partner, if you're not of the light, then you're to stay, which is a spiritual law. If they're not of the light, you're to stay. And at the end of the night, we say, if, all the spirits of the building, we appreciate and your help and you're interactive tonight, blah, blah, blah. But you must stay here. You are not to follow us home. And we've never ever had an issue. But we don't go looking for the negative stuff.
Yeah, that's the same. That we do the exact same thing. We, after the end of our events or anything that we do, we're always like, "Thank you. We appreciate you for letting us come, talk to you and walk around and explore your house and everything. But you got to stay here. You can't go home."
Yeah.
And and so far, and then we spray ourselves with a booby gone that we make of holy water, sage, Palo Santo oil, and frankincense. But and everything. Maddie, you want to finish any comments up there?
Yeah.
What you doing over there?
My little Ouija board thing and 2 of my candles just fell down off my.
Yeah, somebody don't like you over there.
Okay. Anyways, on to the more questions. Chuck said hello.
What's up, Chuck?
He hasn't been on here in a while.
Hi, Chuck.
And then Mom said, Maddie knocks people down, poor Nicole. That's just because I was going up the steps and children were following me up the steps. So I started going a little quicker. And it wasn't that I did not ask them to come with me. They were just following me.
I'll give you a little tip. Don't be the last on the line.
Exactly. I was in the back. That's the thing.
I'm always the first. I want to see what's coming towards me.
Yeah, the man after my own heart.
Oh yeah.
I want to see what's coming and not what's behind me.
That's right.
Everyone's in the comments is just saying that's amazing to your stories and your experiences.
So I got to ask, and as there's certain things. So when you go on an investigation, what's your favorite snack that you eat on your investigation?
Oh, I'm very good like that. I would be very bad and have what we call crisps. I think you call them chips, but we have bags of crisps we have here. And I tend to find I go out and do an investigation with guests, and then we go back and typical British, we have a cup of tea halfway through. And then, I seem to snack on crisps because I seem to think it sort of builds my energy back up ready for the second part, where we'll go to a different part of the building, or you have a different group of people to give them a different experience, whatever it may be, because different groups carry different experiences, don't they? You could go with one group into one room and get table tipping and glass moving. You could go with another group and get taps and knocks, so I tend to snack on crisps, I'm afraid. Not good, not a healthy option.
No,
I'm a Lunchable kind of guy, so I take Lunchables.
I've got something to say to, who is it? This lady. Maddie. Yeah. So I want to say, trust your feelings, trust your gut instincts, because that is clairsentient. You are clairsentient, okay? So trust those feelings and go with it.
I will. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We also a couple of months ago did an old abbey, a 14th century abbey near us called Waverley Abbey. Very interesting place. And it was the only abbey where the monks slept on the first floor, where normally in an abbey they would sleep on the ground floor. But for some reason this was up on they slept on the second floor. It's also used during the First World War as a recuperation hospital. That's a free venue that we take few people, and as a team we go there. We're very lucky like that because we have lots of old castle ruins. We have very old houses, a place called Wimmering Manor, which is right in the middle of a housing estate, believe it or not. But it's a 15th century manor house right in the middle of a housing estate. You drive into a housing estate, look, and you think, well, it can't be here, and there it is, right in the middle. Quite surprising, really. And also, another one of my interesting ones is a place called Robert Denholm House, which is in Bletchley in Surrey, which was headquarters for the Royal Canadian Air Force during the Second World War, where they trained their Air Force soldiers for Canada. That was a very interesting place. Massive building, but a really, really interesting place we've done. A very good friend of mine is on TV. He does I'm not sure whether you get over there. It's Help My House is Haunted. We get it.
I don't know if we get that one. We get all kinds of different ones.
Yeah, a very good friend of mine is on TV, and we send him snippets and bits, and him and his team, and they're on TV quite often here, doing different locations. So, I've had many years of experience, and I could go on all night. Really, the amount of experiences that we've had as a team and individually. We live in a very haunted house, or a bungalow. But our bungalow is very haunted. We have lots of things go on here in the night.
You just investigate your own house. There you go.
Yeah. We have done that. We caught a ghost on camera here one night.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was trying out a new camera. I don't know whether you get them out there. They're called trap cameras that they tie around trees that look for animals in the dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I used a couple of them in the
Yeah,
paranormal
they call it
investigation.
gaming cameras here. Yeah.
Sure. We call
So
them
those
trap
work pretty
cameras.
good. I was always wondering about those. Those work pretty good.
Yeah, very good. I tried one here. I got it through, and it records in ultraviolet and infrared, so it records in both spectrums. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try one night. I'll try it, and I said to my partner Jenny, "Oh, I'll put it on the bookcase, and we'll just leave it because we often get knocks and bangs, and we can hear conversations going on. You know, when you come in the door, you think someone's here, and you come in and there's no one here. Anyway, this one night, I said, "Oh, I'll put it on the bookcase, and we'll just leave it running. You know, if something moves, it'll switch itself on, and it'll work." Unbeknown to us, obviously, we'd gone off to bed, got up for work in the morning, looked at the camera, and it was flashing like it had been set off. So I must look at that when I get home. That'd be interesting. So I came home the following night from work, took out the SD card, put it in my laptop, sat there looking through like nearly a whole night's worth of recording as it was switching on and off. We could see lots of orbs. And about 3:07 in the morning, in the early hours of the morning, what looks like is a door just there. As you can see the door behind me here.
Uh-huh.
The camera catches the door. I've got it on video. It's on YouTube as well, and it's been on TV and it's worldwide video. And what you see is at 3:07, the camera starts to vibrate. You get a lot of static in the room, which is really quiet here. And we live right out in the countryside, so there's no subways, there's no motorways, so there's no vibration. And then at 3:07, the camera starts to shake, and then it stops. So it's well worth getting one. And then it zooms in on this door here. And as you look at the door actually opened, and you can see a ghost of a lady looking around the door into the lounge where I am sat now. And you actually see her materialise. So you actually see her in the gap just there. You actually see her come into view. She looks round the corner and disappears, and then an orb comes into this room, and you hear bang, and then you see the orb come in the door and disappears out, and leaves her spirit child standing in the hallway. But when I sent it to my friend on the TV, and he sent it to the police to have it forensically checked, so it was because it was going to be shown on TV, and they saw something that I didn't. The first part of the recording is at 3:07 in the morning, so 7 minutes past 3 a.m. in the morning. So that was when the recording started. When the apparition appeared and disappeared, it had gone back a minute. So the second part of the recording was at 3:06 in the morning.
Wow.
How do you work that out? And we even went to the police because they could check what they call the metadata, which is the information taken within inside the camera. And they said they'd never, ever seen anything that could go back by a minute. And it literally does go back by a minute on the second part of the recording. And when I sent it to him, it went on the unexplained caught on camera, and then it was launched on, and then it went worldwide. So, and that was just by experimenting with one of them trap cameras. So if you're thinking of getting one, well worth it.
Well worth to get one.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
He's like, here you go.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that's
We were so
in your own
lucky.
home. That's
Very, very lucky.
crazy.
I have like one. So you guys use I don't know if the Phasma box. You know what that is?
Yeah, we have a plasma globe.
Okay.
Like a round globe that you touch, and the electric like lightning that comes within the globe. Is that what you mean?
No, the Phasma box is like a spirit box, but it actually you hear like the voices, not the SB11 or SB7, but it's a piece of software.
Yeah.
And stuff. Do you guys? My question is, do you get a lot of American voices that come through, or do you still get the British accent? Or
we do depending on location. In the Robert Denholm House in the Canadian Air Force building, a lot of the words were guys and dollar and cent and like things that you would associate with American or Canadian type, that came through on the board. And we could hear someone say, "Hey, you guys," which is not really a British phrase. Sorry, it's quite an American or Canadian type phrase. But we tend to find in buildings that housed Americans. I've been in a building where we had types of Spanish connection, and we've had Spanish voices.
Yeah,
You
we've
know,
had that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it depends on the buildings that you're in. It's like if we investigate, I don't know, a 14th century castle, what you've got to understand is our English dialect has changed over them hundreds of years.
Mhm.
So the way we talk now is completely different to how they would have spoke in the 1400s. You know,
Mhm.
different types of dialect. Have you ever thought that in America, how your dialect may have changed over? So you're asking them to interact, but it could be that they don't understand our dialect.
That's true.
Mm.
Well, and I have been told by one of our, like a psychic, that she was watching us on one of our lives, and she said they're standing around looking at you like, why? They don't know what the electronics is because they didn't
Yeah.
have electronics. You know what I'm saying? They were like,
Sure. Sure.
and then once I explained it to them, we got some interaction. That they just didn't realize that all they had to do was talk, or and
Yeah.
so she's like, they're very puzzled, like they don't know what's going on. But I really never thought about that. That if our dialect has changed, that they don't understand some of the questions or some of the things that we're asking.
That's right. I don't know how much your American language would have changed over the hundreds of years that it's been going, but I know the English dialect, and we've actually played an English dialect in a 14th century building and got good results because they can understand what we're asking. Because we've
Right.
asked Google to do it, and how would you say this in Old English? What we'd say would be Old English dialect, and it would
Mhm.
say ye olde something or other, and we'd say that, and you'd get a knock. Where before you say, if there's anybody here, could you knock, and get nothing. But you've got
Right.
to remember, it could be that it's in the old dialect, so it doesn't understand our English dialect as we speak now, because obviously we speak quite quickly. Where in them
Mhm.
days they would have spoke very slowly, very clearly, but in a different dialect.
We
Hmm.
found that, Maddie, like when we're asked, like, can you touch the flashlight? And then
Yeah.
when we said, can you touch the torch? Then they would touch the flash.
Yeah.
They would touch the torch. Like
Yeah.
most back in the day, I know you still call it a torch, but
Yeah,
like back in the day, they used to call it a torch and not a flashlight
correct.
and
Yeah.
stuff. So
And that's what when you go into these buildings, you have to sort of take that into consideration.
Mhm.
correct.
When you're asking them to interact with you through electronic equipment, they've never seen flashing lights, they've never seen a plasma board, they've never seen a
Correct.
flashing cat ball, and you've got to then convince them that it's not going to harm them. It's there for a form of communication, and that could be sometimes the stumbling block is where they don't understand what you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we need to go over to Surrey. What do you think, Maddie?
Yes. Yes.
We're
Yes.
gonna
very
go.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
gonna
welcome
Yes.
go
over.
Yes.
go
Yes.
hang
Yes.
out with Paul.
Yeah, you're very welcome to come over.
Oh
We
my
will take you
God.
some haunted locations.
Oh, now I want to
Well,
go.
you'll have to let us know if you come to the States beforehand, because
Sure.
we've
Yes.
been to
Yes.
Waverly and we'd love to go again. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's not a problem.
And
Whereabouts are you in the States?
We're right in the middle of the United States. We're in Missouri. We're right in the
Oh, right.
Midwest.
yes.
Oh, nice.
And where Waverly Hills is, it's in a border state from us.
Yeah, so
So
it's like a 3.5 hour drive for us. It's a hop,
yes.
skip, and a jump.
So
Yeah.
if you ever go to Waverly, let us know.
Oh, definitely. That's on the top of my bucket list. So when we go out there, maybe we're looking to go to Canada next year because my partner's brother lives in Canada.
Yeah.
So what we were thinking was flying from the UK into America and
Mhm.
either doing like ghost hunts in New Orleans or San Francisco, and then hop on from there into Canada, into Ontario.
Yeah.
London, Ontario is where my partner's brother lives. So
Okay,
we were
nice.
thinking of
That's
coming
actually
into the
next week.
States.
Next week, like you said, you were our first international, and then next week we actually have 3 ladies from Canada on next week
Oh,
on the
nice,
podcast.
nice.
So that's kind
Send
of
me the link.
coincidence.
Yeah, send me
That
the
is-
link. I'd like to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
But,
I'll record it anyway because obviously.
yeah. Let
it's
us
the early
know if you
hours
ever
of the
come
morning.
in. Like you said, we can
Sure.
we can get the date for you, and
Yeah.
like we do our podcast. We're actually in a haunted location right now.
Oh, nice.
So Yeah, so it's kind of like your house. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why if you
Yeah.
see I keep
yeah. We
looking
often
over to
have
the right.
knocks
I keep hearing
knocks and
something over to the
bangs.
right moving around.
Yeah,
So
that's why when
Yeah.
something fell on my when something fell on my shelf, I was like, oh, I was like, that hasn't happened for like 4 weeks. Like, it's kind of different.
Tell them what happened with the picture.
We were just a brief one. We were asleep one night in the bedroom, and I'm a very light sleeper anyway. You know, I don't often go into a very deep sleep anyway. And I heard this crash, bang, and I sort of sat up thinking someone had come into the house. And as I looked up, one of the paintings in the hallway was actually like thrown into the bedroom. And I actually saw it come into the bedroom door. And I'm like, well, if that fell off the wall, it would have slid down and just dropped to the floor. But it
Yeah.
literally
correct.
came in the bedroom door. My partner
Oh,
was still
wow.
fast asleep, oblivious to the crashing and banging of the picture falling down.
And
And
there
I'm
you are,
thinking,
wide awake.
yeah. And I'm sitting there saying, well, okay, who are you? You know, you woke me up. You must want to talk to me, but couldn't connect with anything. Just got up, put the picture back on the wall, and went back to bed because I get up for work at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So that only happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks ago. So
Oh, wow.
it does sometimes happen here.
No,
We can
that's
smell
true.
smoke and perfume, and all sorts of things happen here. But it doesn't. We've had a clock fall off the wall in the kitchen. We've had a lemonade bottle go across the kitchen floor and was spinning when we went out there. It's still spinning on the floor. Intriguing things.
Well,
And
you
that's
got a
what
house full of stuff going on.
Yeah,
You don't
we
have to
think
go
we
anywhere.
might.
You can just hang out in your living room.
Yeah, we think we have a portal in the hallway where
Ah.
where spirit come in and out, because we're sitting here watching TV and we often see orbs flying around in the room. You don't always catch them on camera. We see them by eye, which is always interesting
Yeah.
because they're very difficult to see by eye, but we do
Yeah.
often see them.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's us of Host for Ghosts. We have many years of experience. We've had many things happen and been to many locations, probably like yourselves. But
Yeah.
yes, Waverley Hills is on my bucket list.
So where can people find you, Paul, to watch your podcast and everything?
We do on Facebook. We do what we call the Paranormal Monday Night Live on Facebook with South Coast Ghosts, who's a very good friend of mine who's sadly passed away. But we're carrying on. It's under the Host for Ghosts and South Coast Ghosts. And what we tend to do that is we have guest speakers on, talk about haunted dolls or their haunted houses, or we talk about types of equipment that we use. We talk about the weekend's investigation, what we get. And we have 300 to 400 people, view it over the time. And it's called the Paranormal Monday Night Live with Host for Ghosts and South Coast Ghosts. And it's normally, we find it on Facebook. It's on at 8:15 on a Monday night. So I'm not sure what time. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, your time, I think.
Yeah, it'd be easy time to watch.
Yeah, it'd be a good time, wouldn't it, for you?
But speaking of that, Paul, we don't want to keep you up any longer. We
No,
do
it's
thank
fine.
you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
Oh, you're
on
very
and
welcome.
staying up so late.
If you send me your link, then what we can do is when we do the Paranormal Monday Night Live, we can send you out a link and you just click on in the background and give us your comments, or you're
Yeah.
welcome to come on and guest speakers or one week.
Yeah, we
We'd
would love
love
to. Yeah, we would love
No.
to.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you, and
good
thank
luck.
you to your mate too. Thank you for staying up.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
that's fine. Honestly, we're going to go to bed now because we're off to work early in the hours.
I greatly
yeah.
appreciate it, man.
Yes,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
You're very welcome. But if you ever
Thanks,
need us,
Paul.
you know where I am. Just give us a shout, and I'll
Okay.
be in contact if we fly into America. But thank
Yeah,
you and
let us know.
your fans for all your questions. You have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
You too.
too.
Thanks.
Oh,
Wow, that was cool.
I loved that. I loved that so much. Oh,
That was cool. That was cool. That was cool. I wish I could see a lot bigger, but I got to go back and rewatch it.
yes.
I'm just looking at a bright phone. My eyes are dilated too because I went to the eye doctor today, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't see nothing. I can't see comments. I'm just like, my eyes are hurting because the fans blowing in them. So
Yeah.
at times it probably I wasn't falling asleep. I was just keeping my eyes closed because
Your
all
eyes
the
are
dust in
hurting.
here too.
Yeah. No, that was one of my favorites. Yeah,
That was
that
really good.
was just the different type of stories that you don't like, the whole like seeing the Russian art,
Oh,
like
the Roman
Roman, yeah,
Legion?
yeah, like
That'd be
you don't see
crazy.
like, you don't see that. Like just hearing those type of stories and hearing stories that from places that you don't hear all the time and that are completely on the other side of the world. So that was amazing. One of my favorites ever.
Yeah.
But thank you to all those who came and showed us support, show Paul support, and listen to his amazing stories.
Is there any other comments on there?
No, they were just saying how much they loved hearing Paul's stories and everything.
Yeah. This week, this last weekend was the haunted American hauntings.
Yes.
We did that. We met some new people. We met some people. They were like, "Hey, I follow you." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but I mean, there's a lot of people that follow us I don't know,
Yeah.
and stuff. But we had a good time. Maddie was only there one night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's a lucky person. That's Gina. Last year, she won 3 things at the raffle.
Yeah.
She won again another thing this year.
Oh man, she needs to start. I'm gonna
She
have
won
to
that-
give her mine.
That real skull that was like, used for classrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get the vanity. We didn't win the Ouija boards or nothing. I did sell our hot item of the weekend was those skull REM pods.
Yeah. Oh, a cat got in. Ta-da.
What? Oh my goodness gracious! Well, we'll have to get that cat out before we leave.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, next weekend we'll have the ladies from Canada still going
Yeah.
international,
Ooh.
staying on the international borders. Hopefully things are working well.
Yeah.
We'll get the other computer up and going.
Yeah.
And everything. We have an event this weekend at Ray County Museum, so we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Ray County Museum in up by Kansas City. Tickets are still available. Awesome place. You should check it out if you want to go.
Yeah.
And something just came up. What did come up?
Gina said, "I love my skull."
Yeah, I'm gonna give her tickets next year and put them in my bucket.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have her put them in the bucket for me because she wins apparently.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
We have Santiago's event coming up July 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Mhm.
Tickets are still available if you want to be a vendor. I know they still got vendor space. Come down to Paragould, Arkansas,
Yep.
and everything. And I want to wish myself a happy birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Tomorrow's his birthday, and
but other than that, everybody, we're gonna cut it short. It's pretty hot in here.
Hot. I am
So
done with the heat.
we're going to head out to the air conditioning and
Yeah.
stuff. We love everybody for coming on and watching. Next week,
Yes.
another big guest, international Canada.
Yep.
3 ladies from Canada are going to be on. I believe it's Black Moon Paranormal.
Hmm.
Black Moon Paranormal, I believe is what their name is. I'll have to look and everything. But thanks everybody for coming on for the support again this week.
Yes. You heard it here, folks.
Stay spooky.